have a good day. Thank you now. Bye-bye. Love you.
Within minutes of boarding this special needs bus, a 4-year-old nonverbal autistic girl restrained and under attack. Her body covered in bruises from bites, kicks, and punches. And her head slammed into the back of her seat by an older student with documented acts of violence.
This was my worst nightmare. I was terrified that something would happen to my daughter and we wouldn't be able to figure out how it happened because my daughter can't tell me.
And a bus driver who says he saw nothing. The school district had special needs drivers working alone, something the state warned them about just weeks before these attacks.
What was your response?
Might not be a bad idea to at least do some cost analysis.
A district now paying out millions for something it likely could have prevented.
If we're looking at a cost analysis on whether or not change needs to happen, I hope this is it.
$2.2 million.
Tonight, the Chesterfield County School District has agreed to pay a second special needs child $200,000 months after paying another student's family $2 million over a series of brutal attacks on one of its school buses.
Well, the latest settlement comes as South Carolina legislators continue to work on a bill to keep this from ever happening again. And that measure comes out of our investigation that revealed South Carolina has no law requiring monitors on special needs buses.
Here's Chief Investigator Jody Barr with an update to the longest ride, a Queen City News investigation.
When Autumn Engel climbed aboard her bus for the ride home, it's clear something was wrong. She'd spent nearly an hour on the morning bus ride attacked by an older boy identified as 9-year-old J.M. He was the only unrestrained student on board. When she got to the top of the steps and spotted him, she tried to turn around and leave, but the driver strapped her in and off they went. The attacks and her screams continued all the way home, but the bus video shows J.M. didn't limit his attacks to Autumn Engel. Her best friend, Nizelle Wilson, a nonverbal autistic boy, was also a victim that day. The video showed J.M. not only ripping Nizelle's shoes off and throwing them at Autumn Engel, but he also punched and kicked Nizelle multiple times as the 6-year-old huddled in the corner of his seat. Something else the driver testified he didn't see. For those attacks, the Chesterfield County School District agreed to pay Nizelle Wilson's mother $200,000, and the State Education Department cut a $23,000 check for what happened to him on this bus ride.
Representative Yao, we are taking up House Bill 3067, and you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, committee. Appreciate it. This bill that you got in front of you has stemmed from an incident that happened in Chesterfield County.
When State Representative Richie Yao found out about what was uncovered in his home county school district, he introduced 2 bills. One would require an adult attendant on every special needs bus in South Carolina. The other would force school districts to share behavioral and health information with drivers. Both scenarios, Yao believes, the Chesterfield County School District could have done to protect Autumn and Nizelle on that bus ride.
I will tell you that if an attendant would have been there, it would have protected that child.
A House committee brought Yao's bill up this week.
Thank you, Philip Cease, State Department of Education.
Philip Cease, an Education Department in-house lobbyist paid with your tax dollars, fought against the bill.
The department doesn't understands why this legislation was introduced. Upon further investigation, under current statutes, the department is able to write legislations, and the State Board of Education is able to adopt those regulations so that local school districts have to abide by those. So we can promulgate regulations in-house without the need of additional legislation.
So am I hearing you say that the department will go ahead and proactively take steps to do that?
Correct.
And if so, what's the timetable or timeline on that?
That's a great question. I can't answer that exactly, but we already have started working on this. So.
Okay, thank you.
After hearing from the Education Department, at least one committee member appeared ready to kill the bill.
Any questions about the Department of Education handling this within their own structure?
Yes. You said we could promulgate regulations. So, Madam Chair, if we would, could we adjourn debate on this particular bill and allow it to go through those proper procedures through the regulations committee?
Yes, sir, Representative
I move to
Alexander.
that.
Do you mind holding that? We have one more guest speaker.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
We have another guest speaker, and then at that time I'll entertain a motion.
Autumn and Izelle's attorney had just 3 minutes to save the special needs bus bill.
The next guest speaker is Patrick McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the council, and Madam Chair, thank you for letting me speak before we kick this debate to the curb. I'm here today to speak on behalf of 2 children who cannot speak. I took time out of my day to appear in front of y'all, quite frankly, in a matter that is against my pecuniary interest. I was the lawyer that represented these children when Representative Yow's school district and the South Carolina School Board's Insurance Trust and South Carolina Insurance Reserve Fund had to pay out over $2.4 million because they did not do something as simple as having an adult attendant on a bus when they knew it was a problem.
McLaughlin reminded the committee the State Department of Education had 4 years to address this, but never did.
So when I hear Mr. Cease get up here and explain to y'all today how y'all don't need to pass a law, the Department of Ed is going to take care of this with regulations. Where's the regs? Where have they been? This happened in 2018. The school district had been warned by the Department of Ed 2 months before these attacks happened. If you don't put an adult attendant on these buses with children that have mental and emotional issues, you are putting the driver, the other children on the bus, and the general public at risk. The Department of Ed knew that.
The Education Department's safety head testified during the civil suit the department's always had the authority to fix this.
But you guys are empowered to create regulations by which they have to operate the.
Yes, sir.
And there's nothing stopping the Department of Education from having a regulation that says for these particular situations, you got to have an attendant on the bus.
I guess there would not be anything that would prevent the department from establishing that regulation. I'm not the one that would be able to set that up.
Has anything been done since, as the gentleman said, this was, 2018?
Right.
And so have there been conversations, or is there even potential regulations that's already out there, or what's the status on that? I guess that's my question, because I am concerned that this hasn't happened yet.
As Chair Lady Erickson referenced, there was a new administration that came in about a month and some change ago. Since that administration has changed over, there have been numerous conversations about this, and we've already begun working on the regulations and talking with stakeholders about the best way to go forward and what the regulations should look like.
Representative Shannon Erickson chairs the House Education Committee. We emailed her and her committee multiple times asking for an interview about her stance on the bill. We even went to her House office in person and left a message for her. Erickson ignored those messages.
We've got a brand new regime at the State Department of Education. You're seeing attention from them. You're seeing teamwork from them, and an offer that, no, we didn't have from a regime that was earlier. We have bus regulations as long as my arm. It seems like we might need to tweak some others. For me, it's not the money, it's putting the right regulations in place to make sure there's not a gray area for some of those choices that may not have been appropriate.
Neither the Education Department nor Superintendent Ellen Weaver would schedule an interview with us to explain why the special needs bus regulations were never brought to the legislature. We also asked members of the State Board of Education to talk with us, but not one board member responded.
The Department of Ed knows it. They knew that this was a problem, and they never passed the regs.
And now they want to stand in front of you as y'all consider passing this law and say, we don't need you to pass this law, we're going to get right on it. I beg your pardon if my clients don't quite trust that. If my clients would prefer to see you guys take the initiative and pass the law. Now, the question that y'all may have is, well, McLaughlin, how are we going to pay for attendance on the buses? I don't know. That ain't my job. I can promise you this much, though. If we don't put attendance on those buses, the state of South Carolina is paying one way or the other.
The committee that just minutes earlier appeared ready to end debate on the bill, along with the Education Department with no timeline on when it could bring those regulations to life, voted to do something.
So what I'm asking you as you're standing here today, you said you weren't sure how long it would take. Can I get a commitment from you to get a first draft of this by 30 days from now into my committee?
Yes, sir.
There you go. How about that, guys?
The Education Department has until March 21st to get those new regulations over to the State House. From there, House and Senate committees will vote on whether those new special needs bus rules end up as part of the state's code of regulations. The Education Department lobbyists told the committee one problem with this is finding people to work as bus monitors. Patrick McLaughlin argued he's certain districts could find volunteers to protect these children at no cost to taxpayers, something McLaughlin says he found no evidence the Chesterfield County School District ever explored following those 2018 bus attacks.